Our story opens with a scene of a city where everything seems normal, but suddenly, a red-colored kaiju dragon appears and starts wreaking havoc. The members of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force, who are the city's heroes, attempt to attack it to control the situation, but their efforts are in vain as the destruction continues. Suddenly, the leader of the 3rd Division attacks and draws blood, resulting in a rain of blood. After this, the situation is controlled, and all the citizens cheer and thank the 3rd Division members. Later, the staff cleans up the city and removes the kaiju's dead body. Among them is a boy named Kafka Habino, who thinks they worked hard and got hurt, yet no one in the city seems to care or acknowledge their heroism. Kafka feels upset because cleaning the city is also important work, but it goes unnoticed. Manager told him to go to clean up the intestine portion. He found it difficult. He loses his appetite for many days due to this hardship. One night, as he feels down, he watches TV, where people appreciate Captain Mina Ashiro of the 3rd Division of the Defense Force. She has achieved great success by killing hundreds of kaiju at the age of 27. This reminds Kafka of the time when they both decided to defeat kaiju together. However, now they lead different lives, and Kafka feels bad about himself. Despite this, he realizes he has a place to live and food to eat, so he tries not to worry. The next day at work, Kafka meets a new part-time student named Rino Ichikawa, who is determined to join the Defense Force. He mentions that he also had this dream but gave up because he thought his abilities were limited. However, when Kafka encourages him not to give up, Ichikawa expresses determination to pursue his dream at any cost. Later that day, while working with Ichikawa, they encounter a Yoju attack. Kafka saves Ichikawa's life and advises him to run and call the Defense Force. He tells Ichikawa to keep running because his life has a goal and a dream. Kafka tries to save himself by running into narrow streets to avoid the Yoju's attack, but he falls from a window. As he falls, he remembers the time when he and Mina decided to become Defense Force officers after facing many losses. Returning to reality, Kafka tries to attack the Yoju's legs, but his leg gets stuck, and the Yoju nearly eats him. However, Ichikawa bravely saves Kafka and fights off the Yoju. He encourages Kafka not to give up and to apply to join the Defense Force. Just then, the Defense Force officers arrive and kill the Yoju. Kafka reflects on how Mina has saved numerous lives and feels inadequate in comparison. Ichikawa thanks Kafka for saving his life and urges him again to join the Defense Force. Suddenly, Kafka notices many kaiju in front of him and realizes he is undergoing a transformation, with his appearance changing into that of a kaiju. Ichikawa can't believe what's happening, and Kafka is equally bewildered. He touches the door of a room only to find it completely destroyed. Everyone is terrified to see him. Ichikawa advises Kafka to run away, and they do so without knowing what will happen next. The Defense Force is also alerted and begins pursuing them. As they run, Kafka stops, realizing he can never become a Defense Force member now. They would kill him on sight. Feeling despondent, Ichikawa tells him now isn't the time to dwell on that and urges him to take action. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, another kaiju attacks. A little girl struggles to save her mother when the kaiju threaten them. Kafka arrives and saves them, trying to comfort the girl with a smile that unintentionally scares her even more. He manages to rescue both the girl and her mother. Ichikawa escorts them to safety and engages the kaiju in battle, ultimately defeating it with an electric shock that causes it to explode, showering blood. Afterwards, Kafka instructs Ichikawa to take the injured to the hospital. As he prepares to leave, the little girl thanks Kafka, triggering memories of Mina, whom Kafka cannot forget, especially given their shared dreams for the future. Defense Force officers arrive, confused by the situation. Mina speaks with the little girl, who insists that Kafka, the good kaiju, saved her mother and should not be harmed. Mina is puzzled by this. Meanwhile, Ichikawa receives news that he passed the first round of the Defense Force examination and is thrilled. He rushes to inform Kafka, but upon seeing Kafka in his kaiju form, he shouts at him in frustration. Kafka tries to regain his human form and assures Ichikawa that he will definitely try for the second round. However, Ichikawa warns him not to, as the Defense Force officers will likely attack him on sight. Kafka insists it's his last chance and he must try at any cost. Understanding his resolve, Ichikawa reluctantly lets him go. 10 days later, both Kafka and Ichikawa arrive to take the second test for the Defense Force. They discuss their plans when suddenly, a girl approaches and asks them to move their car so she can park in here as this is her lucky spot. When they refuse, she moves their car with her hand, shocking them with her abilities. Introducing herself as Kokoro Shinomiya, she reveals her hobby is killing kaiju and exhibits a remarkable attitude. Kafka repairs his car to normal, surprising Kokoro. She brushes it off and instructs them to check in for examination. Ishikawa shouts at him for using his power. They undergo various tests. Kafka finds it very challenging and desires to use his power to succeed, but he refrains from doing so in front of everyone, resulting in a poor score. Kikoro mocks him, leaving him feeling sad and angry at Ishikawa for advising against using his power. Mina gathers all candidates' reports, and her partner briefs her on those who caught his eye. Kikoro tells Kafka that she now understands how amazing and talented she is. He attempts to challenge her, but her butler defeats him. They move to another area where they encounter Hoshina, the vice captain of the 3rd Division and head of the 2nd stage exam community. They must find and dispose of kaiju bodies but are frightened by a captured kaiju. Hoshina gives them costumes for the fight. Ichikawa finds it interesting, and everyone likes it. The staff explains their combat powers, which vary. Kokoro's combat power is 46%, stunning everyone. Unfortunately, Kafka's power is 0%. Leading to laughter and disbelief. Angry, he seeks to prove them wrong. Their final test begins, to fight a Hanju and 36 Yoju scattered throughout the area and prove their strength. They are monitored, and help is provided if their lives are in danger. Kokoro fights bravely, surprising everyone, while Kafka struggles with weapons. When he sees Mina watching and wanting to assess their abilities, he finds courage and joins the fight. He helps destroy one Yoju, gaining confidence. Moving to another area, Kafka is suddenly attacked and injured by a Yoju. Determined not to be seen as a loser, he faces the Yoju about to kill him, only to be saved by Kikoro. She boldly moves toward the final target. Everyone takes it seriously and rushes forward. Despite his injuries, Kafka tries to stand up, knowing this is his last chance. Staff suggest he give up and drop out, but he refuses, vowing to never give up. His power increases slightly from 0 to 0.01%. Kafka standing on his broken leg, fully determined and making a hand gesture with Ishikawa to work together. Hoshino laughed at them. They moved forward with determination. On the other hand, Kikoro advanced with passion and energy, killing all the Yoju in her path and moving towards the last Hanju to fight. She attacked it, unleashing fire into mouth and completely destroying it. All the staff were shocked and couldn't believe the Hanju was destroyed without hesitation. The last stage of the examination was over, and Mina also appreciated Kokoro, mentioning she was a ray of hope as the daughter of director Shinomiya. Kokoro thought to go back and tease Kafka, but she was suddenly startled by a Kijo appearing. More Kijo appeared, and they couldn't understand what was happening. Kokoro's shield protected her, and she tried to attack, but the Kijo attacked her in various ways. The staff observed some abnormalities in Kokoro, but couldn't understand what caused them. Drones were dispatched as the test ended. Mina took control of the situation, instructing the staff to open everyone's shields and send drones to capture what had happened. She also moved to the scene. Kokoro still didn't lose hope, unwilling to let others die. She continued to attack, thinking she was flawless and remembering times when she excelled. Her father, however, never praised her, always urging her to win and move forward at any cost. Finding strength within herself, she attacked, but her weapon fell, and she felt defeated as the kaiju was about to kill her. She was disappointed, but Kafka reassured her she had done well and transformed into a kaiju. Staff members evacuated everyone to a safe shelter. Ishikawa wondered if Kafka might reveal his true form or continue fighting, worrying about him. Kafka told her not to tell anyone about his transformation, and the battle commenced. Massive explosions occurred, bewildering the staff as they couldn't recall such magnitude in history. Kafka managed to destroy the kaiju attempting to regenerate itself before returning to Kikoro, instructing her not to reveal anything. Ishikawa arrived and shouted at Kafka, but they both stopped when Kikoro collapsed. They took her to the safe center, and everything was under control. Mina sensed something she couldn't understand and decided to investigate further. Kafka rested in bed, and Ishikawa admired his courage and strength. Mina arrived, saluted them, thanked them for their rescue efforts, and left. Kafka planned to speak with her once he became an officer. Hoshino praised Kikoro for her work and inquired about the incident. She replied that she had defeated the kaiju. Ishikawa and Kafka both received their test results but were afraid to open them. At the induction ceremony, everyone made small talk, and a boy asked Ishikawa about Kafka, but before he could reply, Mina arrived in the hall, and everyone took their positions. She invited Kikoro to the stage because she had scored highest in the test. Mina congratulated her and appreciated her work during the incident, but Kafka remained a question mark in her mind. He hadn't scored well in the examination and had zero power. However, Hoshino decided to allow him to join the defense force, not as an officer but as a cadet, recognizing his abilities and knowledge about kaiju. He apologized for being late. Afterward, Mina gave a general presentation about their work, emphasizing the sacrifice required for the country. Kafka took this seriously and loudly declared his dedication, surprising everyone by addressing her by her first name. Hoshino found this amusing but also sensed something intriguing about Kafka, who then performed 100 push-ups as punishment at the other candidate's suggestion. Kakuro took him aside because she wanted to talk. He explained that he wanted to disclose everything to the Defense Force members, but she stopped him, fearing they would continue testing him and prevent him from becoming a Defense Force officer. She promised to keep his secret unless he harmed people. Everyone practiced diligently and bravely competed based on their power levels. Kafka became frustrated when his power reached only 1%. Afterward, they bathed, relaxed, and talked about their muscles and bodies. Kafka tried to flex but failed, leading to laughter from the others. Kakuro was curious about Mina's power, so she asked about her training. Meanwhile, the boys discussed their reasons for joining. One mentioned joining because Mina had saved him in middle school, and he admired her. Most boys joined because of her, viewing her as a superhero of their generation. Kafka revealed he had joined because they were childhood friends. They all started asking him for information about her. Their training involved various activities, and they lived and trained together, spending a lot of time bonding. One night, Kafka studied late, and Hoshino came by, mentioning he knew Kafka was studying hard because of Mina. He overheard their conversation and advised Kafka to keep working hard and persevere. Now comment what will happen next. Please subscribe to our channel for the next part.